everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Annie Lamb, Executive Director of the League of California Cities Women's Caucus. And in honor of Women's History Month, we are spotlighting our caucus co-founding board member, Councilmember Jan Arbuckle of Grass Valley. This session is intended to highlight her story, how she got started in public service, to co-founding the Women's Caucus. So Jan, welcome.
It's exciting to be able to be here during Women and celebrate Women's History Month.
Absolutely. And also to hear your story. Can you tell us a little bit about, your story and, maybe some things that people don't often know about you and leading you to running for office?
I have a very interesting story, and it started never in politics, was never part of that. I was raised by a single mom. I'm the oldest and only girl. I have 3 younger brothers, which I played pseudo mom to, because as a single mom, she worked a lot. So, I went through high school. I was the shy girl. I didn't put myself out there very much. I was elected as secretary of our, I know, shocking.
Yes, I'm shocked. I am shocked.
I was the shy girl. People who know me now are going, seriously.
Completely different.
I was the shy girl. I never wanted to put myself in front of anybody unless I had other people around me. So I kind of blended into the background through most of my life. I was always a good student. I was always participated, but I was never the spotlight. And so I've been married and divorced. I have 1 child. Well, he's not a child anymore. I now have 2.5 grandkids. I have another one that I have 2 grandsons and finally a girl that will be due in May. So I had, again, as I said, I had a variety of different jobs. In 1984, I went through the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department Sheriff's Academy. A lot of people don't realize that I was a deputy sheriff in Sacramento County for a very long time, until the end of 2002 when I was retired. So that was that. And then I moved to Grass Valley and a whole new world opened up to me. I went on the grand jury, and I recommend going on a grand jury to anyone who is new in a community or is even interested in politics, because you get an overview of what the important issues are of the different offices. So that was a great experience. I did that for a couple of years. And then I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And there was an opening on the Grass Valley City Council. One of the council members had resigned, and so they were going to go through an appointment process. I was encouraged to apply, thinking all the while that would never going to pick me. First of all, I didn't know any of the issues. I'd only lived in Grass Valley since 2003, and this was only 4 years later. And somehow or another, I think they liked that perspective and the fact that I had been in law enforcement before, and I was unanimously appointed.
Wow.
And so it wasn't planned. And so I've run I'm in my fourth actual term, full term, and which ends in 2024. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. It's just kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
It sounds like it was very organic, right? But you were a very curious learner. You participated in various things, and it opened your perspective. And you met some people along the way. It sounds like that were also very helpful.
They were, and they encouraged me to do this. And it's like, I can't do that. I don't want to be in front of people. I don't know this stuff. I don't know how to play politics. But and again, still kind of more on the reserve side, not as much as growing up, but you can't really do that and be an effective law enforcement officer. So,
right. So how long have you been in office, Jan?
I got appointed in 2007, and I have been there ever since. I've been very, very fortunate to have successfully run 4 campaigns and have been successful in all of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So and I attribute that a lot to the fact that I try to connect with our residents. When I was mayor in 2012, I had a Monday with the mayor. So anybody could come into City Hall and we could talk about whatever they had, if they had an issue with their public works. But I've always tried to be very accessible and be out in the community. So, and I think that that's one of the most important things we can do.
Taking a step back, you have mentioned that when you were growing up, you were very shy. And even up until the point when you were applying or, trying to be considered for that appointment, you were still thinking like, well, I'm just going to give it a try. My friend or, the person saw, leadership in you and asked, Jan would be great for this. You should do it. And that there was still some doubt inside of you, right? But what the heck? I'm just gonna give it a shot. And so along the way, what would you say it was the transition point for you? Because of the Jan that I got to know, right? It's not shy. Like, you're very vocal in a very good way. You're just, very open and very out there and very vocal, and in terms of speaking your thoughts and standing up when there are times where you need to stand up. So I'd love to hear how that journey was like for you, because I bet there's a lot of folks who are in that boat right now thinking that, oh, I'm so shy. Public speaking is not for me. If I can't do public speaking or interact with people, how can I consider running for office?
So it was a it was a slow process for me. And even now, if somebody puts a microphone in my face, I will freeze and stammer and stutter for a minute. I just had to basically take a leap of faith that, you're committed to doing this, you have to do it and do the best you can. I think one of the turning points for me, I used to think all these people memorized all the stuff they were saying. They were doing press conferences or whatever it is. Once I realized that they had figured out and had in front of them talking points, it became
the cheat sheet.
It was a game changer for me. It's like, I don't have to memorize all that stuff because I can't memorize all that stuff. And so that was a game changer for me. And I think I still struggled until I got on the executive board for the League of California Cities, where, on my movement up to becoming president, where I had no choice but to stand in front of people and speak constantly. And I found my voice that way by having somebody say, this is what I would like you to, this is what you should be saying, or what we would like you to say, and taking it and making it into my own words. And I think that has a whole lot to do with it. And plus just pushing myself, honestly, in groups. With the Women's Caucus, the same thing. If I see somebody that's standing alone or looks I will absolutely go over to them, which in the past, in my old self, would never have done that because I would start second guessing, and I just made myself do it. And so the more you make yourself do something, the more it becomes natural.
Like you said, like what people say, facing your fear by doing it. And the more you do it, the more normal or the more comfortable you feel. And also maybe along the way, you also develop some confidence, right? You're like, wait, I just ran that meeting. I just led that meeting with 50 people in the room and I did a great job. And that must feel really good and encouraging for you to do it, to wanting or feel really comfortable to do it the next time.
Well, and I think that's a misnomer. I am never comfortable before speaking.
You're never comfortable before.
Never
before
comfortable.
You speak.
Before I speak, I am never comfortable. I am always worried. I am always second guessing. I am always have the butterflies in the stomach. I guess stage fright is a word for it. But it's never become comfortable. I'm just more confident in doing it. So I think if people can get over that, well, I'm not comfortable doing it, so I'm not going to do it. And just kind of, like you said, conquering your fear and saying, okay, but I'm confident that I can do it, even though I'm super nervous.
You know what? We cannot tell you were nervous. I cannot tell. You always do a fabulous job. And so,
Yes.
you mentioned the League of Cities Women's Caucus. Can you tell us a little bit about the founding of the organization? So I know you were one of the early founding members, what that process looked like and the genesis
Well,
of it.
it's in order to get anything done within any organization, and especially the League of California Cities, you have to go through a resolution process. And they had a group of women had tried to put it forth before, a couple of years before, and it failed. In 2010, we gathered signatures, put the resolution before the General Assembly at the annual conference. And after a whole lot of discussion, is why was there a need for a women's caucus? And, all the comments that you would expect to come out of a majority of a male audience, it passed. And so in February of 2011, we were finally established as a viable women's caucus. But I'll tell you, if it wasn't for the persistence of Rose Herrera, a council member from San Jose, she just ramrodded this through. She really did. And she is the reason that we exist today. And she is the reason that she rallied us around to make us realize we could do this. Again, women helping women. We could do this. We just have to be united. We have to show why we're going to do it and how it will affect the members. And we did. And so here we are today.
Wow, that's a really inspirational story. So you mentioned that, it was proposed before, it got shot down, and because of the persistence of and leadership of Rose and yourself and other women leaders, it finally got passed. What would you say was the turning point then? Like, was it because of the big push, or why was it shot down before and then it changed because you all did such a wonderful job pushing forward and making clear that we need this group? What was that like?
I think it's a combination of things. I want to say that the persistence of doing it again, and the fact that there at that point, we were seeing more and more women in elected positions, and women in elected positions tend to attend conferences and get involved in organizations because they want all the information. And so I think that had a whole lot to do with it. And just that we're not going to give up. We want this. We think it's necessary, and we're going to get it. If you shoot us down again, we're going to be back again next year. That kind of attitude.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, it was mostly like a room full of male electeds, right? And so what I'm hearing is that as more women city official got elected, the voice got stronger. And then you all were able to bring together a group of very strong women who were persistent and say, hey, we have the mass now. We know there's a need, even though there were a mass at the time. We all knew that the numbers are still low for women, and which showcases the need for the Women's Caucus and supporting more women in developing leadership and providing opportunities, right? And which is some of the things that we are doing now. And
Yes.
I have to say that, the organization's growth and turning point, I have to say that you were a big part of that. And in terms of growing the organization, can you tell us about those early moments?
As a brand new caucus, it takes a while to make people think that there's value in supporting us and becoming members and that type of thing. So we had some growing pains. And when I became president, it was challenging at the time. We had to let our executive director go. And so because we can't let this fail. I tried to do what you do.
Persistence
It was that whole persistent thing. It's like, I'm not going to let this fail. And so fortunately, league staff, especially Bismarck Obanda, he and I both worked together to try and at least keep us afloat. And I was trying to do everything, rewrite the bylaws, do all the other stuff, and it came impossible. And fortunately, Bismarck found you. And because of you, and I have told you this numerous times, you agreed so graciously to come and help us. And I will be forever in debt to the API caucus for allowing us to share you during those early days. Because I don't think that we would have been in existence if we didn't have you to come on and say, okay, I can show you all the things I've done, but how do I don't have the time nor the background to make this work. So again, you and I have worked together since the beginning to try and get new fundraising efforts, get new sponsors, get new members. And again, I attribute all of it to you being willing to take a chance on us.
Well,
And that's from my heart.
oh, thank you, Jan. I, really want to thank you for your trust in me. I still remember the first coffee session that we had at Ambrosia, where I met you for the very first time. And, I can see in your voice, hear it in your voice, and just meeting you, you're such a genuine person. I felt that, and I really saw your vision and I heard it. You're like, you really want this organization to thrive, and it's not where you want it to be, but there's potential. And you share with me your vision. You want it to be an organization that provide resources to uplift women, one where they are going to be very proud of. And I have to say that because the work that we were able to do together over the years, our membership, they are proud of what the caucus stands for. And that is that we exist to help them and to help other women have more opportunities to grow, such as your growing journey, my own growing journey, and doing it together is so much easier than doing it alone. And I think the story that you shared of the founding of the organization was exactly that story, right? We're stronger together.
We're stronger together, always stronger together. And it has become so apparent, especially now that the caucus has grown, and the people who want to be involved, not just become members and come to our fun events, but to actually become an active member. Like our board now, we have 7 now, and I think when you came, we had 3. I think. I mean, we're supposed to have more, but I think we only had 3. And and people wanting to be part of it. And I think that that's so important. And the things that we have been able to accomplish, the programs, the mentorship program, which I think is absolutely one of the most important, because without mentorship, women have a tendency to kind of stand back and wait and see and wait and see and wait and see. And sometimes that opportunity has passed. So with the encouragement and sharing of stories, basically sharing of stories of, what you overcame during a campaign. What do you do if you are attacked, verbally attacked? How do you handle that? And, how do you handle that with your families? And so I think that we've come a long ways, and I think we are one of the best resources for women who want to be involved, maybe not just in an elected position, but to be on boards, school boards, whatever it is, planning commissions, just get women engaged.
Absolutely. And sharing the stories, like you said, is so important. Just like how you shared your story with me earlier. And I have a very similar learning journey. And I think that when women hear other stories that are similar to theirs, it validates their feeling. You do it in a way that's just so gracious and authentic and genuine. And while I said that you're very vocal, you also take a step back and allow folks to step up as well. And that's something that I really appreciate about you. We have been in the mode of a pandemic over the past several years, and that has changed the way we do work. Individually as a person, because it impacts our family members and how work is done in city hall and how work is done within the community. So there's a lot of obstacles, I think, especially for working women or women who may be interested in running for office. They may not, they may think like, oh, I can't do it. I just have to do so many things already. Given your experience and going through this yourself, I mean, what kind of advice do you have for those women?
If it's something you really want to do or think you want to do, I absolutely encourage you to pursue it. And the way I think that one of the best ways, obviously, is to seek somebody else that is in the position and talk to them. How did it affect you? So, how does it affect your family life? Because I think what women tend to do is we put before we make a decision, we put our families first. How is this going to affect our families? How is this going to affect our children? Is this going to be the right thing for them as well as for me? And by having that opportunity to talk with other women who have gone through it, who have families and have overcome some of the obstacles, I think that shows you, just like you said earlier, that there are people who have walked the same walk that we all have. I don't think there's anything new that anyone has not experienced, whatever that may be, whatever they want to attain. And I think that with women specifically, once we make a commitment, we make a commitment with our heart, and we really believe in what we do, as opposed to, well, what is this going to get me, or whatever, whatever. It's with our heart because we believe in it. And so again, seek out a mentor, talk to somebody who's already walking that walk.
Go for it is what you're saying. Just give it a shot, or
Go for it.
Seek out folks who are already doing it. Get their insights and in terms of how they did it, and chart out your path with the support of a mentor. That is such great advice, Jan. You are truly an inspiration, and it has been an honor to work with you side by side. It's a lot of fun, and to be able to see the organization grow, and the work that we're doing now to help more women gain confidence and gain skills and gain more spots in leadership is something I'm so proud of.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, well, no, thank you. And I thank all the women who are finally kind of realizing what power they really do have. So I am always so grateful when I see how many women are now putting themselves out there. And I'm also the newly elected president of Women in Municipal Government for National League of Cities. So I'm seeing it on a different in different states as well. But I have to say, our caucus is far and above anything else that's there throughout the country. So yes, absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, there are some states that don't have a women's caucus. So that's
Right.
my goal as president of women.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks again for your time. I know you're very, very busy, and for sharing your morning with me, and sharing your story, your journey, and advice to women who may be aspiring to run for office.
Okay. Thank you, Annie.